It is incredible how the entire sports media has gone completely woke. By the way, I recommend that you check out our sports podcast here at Daily Wire, Crane and Company. It's available everywhere, and it is not a woke sports podcast. The reason I bring this up is because there is massive controversy that is now broken out because some of the players on the Tampa Bay Rays refused to wear LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign, ampersand, percentage sign, dollar sign, hashtag emoji face, insignias on their uniform because they are either religious Christians or they do not believe in the LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign agenda. And this means that they are bigots. Jason Adam is one of those players. He said, it's a hard decision. Ultimately, we all said what we want is them to know that all are welcome and loved here. But when we put it on our bodies, I think a lot of guys decided it's just a lifestyle that maybe, not that they look down on anybody or think differently. It's just that maybe we don't want to encourage it if we believe in Jesus, who's encouraged us to live a lifestyle that would abstain from that behavior. Why this is even remotely controversial is beyond me. So in other words, the most tolerant of people on the left are very upset that there are people who are not even trying to stop them from acting in the ways they want, but aren't going to celebrate their behavior by wearing an arm patch that says this thing. By the way, I should note here that as an Orthodox Jew, if I were called upon by a corporation to put on an LGBTQ pride patch as a religious matter, that is indistinguishable from my organization telling me I need to put on a cross. From a philosophical perspective, that is indistinguishable from that corporation saying that I need to fly a swastika flag. Not because all of those things are equivalent. Jesus is not equivalent to the swastika, which is not equivalent to the LGBTQ pride flag. The point is that if something contravenes my deeply held worldview, including my religious beliefs, forcing me to wear an insignia celebrating that thing is wrong. And I would expect the same from people on the left. Like if somebody's on the left and their corporation said to them, you must put a cross on your uniform. And they said no. They would be perfectly well within their rights to do so. Or a swastika on their uniform. They would be perfectly well within their rights to do so. Or a Jewish star. It should be that you do not have to wear the insignia of a thing you don't believe in. And I thought, by the way, that this is exactly the argument that the left had with regard to Colin Kaepernick. And that Colin Kaepernick was allowed to kneel for the national anthem. This is actually worse, okay? And the reason this is actually worse is because every sporting event opens with the national anthem. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but the national anthem ought to be more unifying in the United States of America than the LGBTQ pride flag. It ought to be. You know why? Because it turns out that the LGBTQ agenda is quite radical, and a huge percentage of the population does not support either any element or every element of that agenda. The American flag, I thought that's the thing that we are all supposed to be as Americans. I wasn't aware that we all have to be LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign activists. But apparently we do. According to ESPN reporter Sarah Spain, she said that if you don't wear the flag, not even that you're discriminating against gay people, not even that you're saying that being gay is bad, not any of that. If you refuse to celebrate, if you refuse to cheer, this means that you're a bigot. If you opted out of wearing a Pride Night patch on your uniform, this is because you're a bigot. So, in other words, opting not to stand for the national anthem, heroism and valor. Opting not to wear a pride patch, bigotry and cruelty. Here is the ESPN reporter, Sarah Spain.
Pride is about inclusion, so you don't love them and you don't welcome them if you're not willing to wear the patch. And calling it a lifestyle reveals to me that you've done not even a modicum of research or understanding on this topic, which is what tends to happen when a privileged class isn't affected by things. This is not just about baseball. That religious exemption BS, which is used in sport and otherwise, also allows for people to be denied health care, jobs, apartments, children, prescriptions, all sorts of rights. And so we have to stop tiptoeing around it because we're trying to protect people who are trying to be bigoted from asking for them to be exempt from it when the very people that they are bigoted against are suffering the consequences.
So basically, there should be no religious exemptions, ever. Right? There should be no religious exemptions whatsoever because, of course, why should there be? They're all bigots. It's all cover for bigotry. Now, the truth is that the people who are calling the Christians bigots are the actual bigots. Those Christians are not attempting to force anything on Sarah Spain. Sarah Spain is attempting to force them to wear emblems on their uniforms that they do not wish to wear. Who's the bigot here? Exactly. But it just demonstrates that from a left-wing worldview, they really believe this. They believe on the left wing that the pride flag is more unifying for America. It more represents America than the American flag does. The American flag is a symbol of repression and societal racism and bigotry and historical discrimination. The pride flag is something we should all be proud of because after all, it's who we are. It's an agenda that stands for tolerance and acceptance. And the more stripes and shapes and colors and weird design graphic problems we have on the flag, the more tolerant and open we are. But if you disagree with it, you're a bigot. Right? You're the problem. This says something rather deep about our culture. It also says something about the sports media, because guess what? There are a lot of sports fans who are not into Pride Night when it comes to the baseball game. They just want to go to a damned baseball game. Like, the fact that all of this has become political is she talks about the privileged few in our society. You know who the privileged class are? The privileged class are a bunch of left-wing reporters living in New York and LA who think that the Alabama football game has to be graced by Pride Night because they have very strong feelings about Obergefell or about transgenderism. Like that, it's so self-centered. It's so narcissistic. Again, they take all the things that are apolitical and that we could share and they politicize them. And then when you say no, they say that you're being a bigot. I mean, by the way, I think that there's a case to be made that even if you are pro-LGBTQ agenda, you should say, I don't feel like wearing a pride flag on my baseball uniform because I'm playing a baseball game. And that has nothing to do with the political agenda of any side or every side. But to say even that makes you a bigot, according to Sarah Spain. It's amazing stuff. And again, I love that it doesn't even show a modicum of research to suggest that it's a lifestyle. Okay, well, hold up. When it comes to behaviors, no one suggested that your feelings are a lifestyle. When it comes to behavior, I mean, I thought this is one of the fundamental precepts of Western civilization. Your behavior is, generally speaking, a choice. If it is not, we would not have laws. We would not have societal systems. We would not have cultures, right? But apparently, you're supposed to put all of that aside because Sarah Spain is offended. So, just really solid stuff there from Sarah Spain. And again, she is representative of an entire spectrum of people who work in the sports media who have turned that entire media apparatus, which again was supposed to be apolitical, into a left-wing media outlet. So once again, I recommend you check out Crane and Company, our not left-wing sports show here at Daily Wire if you wish for some alternative content. The battle for the culture is heating up. We here at the Daily Wire are making some big moves. So be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, because you're not going to want to miss a single moment.